Let's finish this last question here. What's something you have recently changed your mind or perspective on when it comes to culture and team development?
You and I have had a couple of conversations since the end of our season, just about perspective and sometimes how we don't always have a complete vision of what's happening or vision of what's happening as the head coach. And there's lots of reasons why we can get distracted or we can get fixated on one thing or another. And I think there's a conversation to be had um, with assistant coaches of like really helping the head coach to understand where those blind spots might develop, and so that they can help to coach me, so to speak, during the season, if that makes sense. And I think that goes both ways as well. This is a coach development question, right? Or can be. I think there are things that head coaches can do with a little prior understanding, perhaps, of where an assistant coach might want to grow, or what maybe their weaknesses are, or their tendencies are, if they tend to, whatever, they just get in their press break and that's their thing that they love, and then all of a sudden they can't do X, Y, or Z, whatever it might be. But having those conversations as a coaching staff is something that I have not done much of before, but I think would be interesting and maybe would be helpful for cultural development.
And for me, again, this is going to be a little bit through a more personal lens of a lot of the work that I do with teams throughout their season. I think up until this point, I've taken a lot of pride in being very responsive to the needs that come up every time I go out and spend time with a team, and to develop workshop or the time that we spend together around what's needed. And something that I'm going to be more intentional about with repeat teams that I support is putting things in place intentionally, even if they're not coming up on their radar at that point in the season, so that we get to have a different experience together towards the end of the season. Like doing it enough now, and I say enough meaning having a few seasons with a few specific teams instead of just being responsive, which is great, and that's all good, but really being intentional about some culture elements from my role, so that they get to experience things differently, given a history of things that have come up within the culture.